It was late evening when the young man walked through the silent ruins of the old space station. The lights were broken, the air cold, and only the sound of his own footsteps followed him. He had come here many times before, searching for old parts and forgotten machines. But this time something felt different. The silence was heavier, almost alive, as if the shadows were waiting for him. His name was Daniel. He was not a soldier, not a great explorer, just an ordinary human who liked to fix broken things. He believed every object carried a story, and, tonight, the ruins seemed to whisper. Daniel's flashlight moved across rusted walls, broken doors, and piles of dust. Then his light stopped. There, half buried under fallen metal, something shined. It was small, glowing faintly, as if it had been waiting for someone to find it. He bent down and pulled the object free. It was strange, like a book, but not made, of paper. The cover looked metallic, smooth, and warm under his fingers. At the center was a symbol, soft blue light flowing like water. "What is this?" he whispered to himself. The object suddenly pulsed and the symbol glowed brighter. Daniel stepped back, his heart racing. For a moment he thought it would explode, but then the cover opened silently, without sound. Inside, glowing letters appeared, shifting and changing until they formed simple words in his own language. Daniel's eyes widened. "A diary," he breathed. The first line was written in delicate strokes. "If anyone ever finds this, please, listen to my words." He froze. His flashlight trembled in his hand. Who had written this? Why could he read it? He looked around. The empty ruins, but of course there was no one. Slowly, carefully, he read on. "My name does not matter. I am only a girl of no value to my people. I am alone. And this diary is the only place where my heart can speak." Daniel felt his chest tighten. The voice was not cold or robotic. The words carried emotion, loneliness, sadness, and a strange honesty. It was as if the girl was speaking directly into his mind. He turned the page, and more glowing text appeared. "I live on a world forgotten by the galaxy. My family is gone. My people do not care for me. I am poor, and I have no friends. The stars above me shine every night, but I can never reach them. My dream is impossible." Daniel swallowed hard. He had explored many ruins, found many strange devices, but never something so personal. This was not just a machine. This was a heart, captured in glowing words. The room around him felt darker now, the air heavier. He sat down on a broken chair, holding the diary carefully, almost afraid to break it. As he read, the words began to change again, forming new sentences. "Sometimes, I imagine a kind soul reading this one day. Someone who might understand me. Someone who might care. If you are that person, please don't stop reading. Please stay with me." Daniel felt a shiver run through him. The words were not just words. They reached inside, pulling at his emotions. He could almost hear her voice, soft and trembling, behind the letters. He whispered, "I hear you." The diary pulsed with light, almost as if it had heard him back. Daniel leaned closer, unable to look away. He kept reading, each line stronger than the last. "I write because I have no one else. I write because dreams are safer on paper than in my heart. But I know this is foolish. No one will ever find these words. No one will ever care. My dream is to see the galaxy, to see Earth, to see the humans. But I am trapped. For me, it is impossible." Daniel's heart pounded. She had written about Earth, about humans. How? He looked around the room again. The silence was so deep, but now it felt like she was here with him. The ruins no longer seemed empty. They carried her presence, her voice. He whispered again, "Who are you?" The diary glowed brighter for a moment, then dimmed. No answer came, only more words forming. "If you are still reading, thank you. You are the only one who has ever listened. Even if you walk away now, even if you forget me, for this moment I am not alone." Daniel shut his eyes. He could feel the pain in her words, a pain that reached across time and space. This was not just an artifact. This was a soul calling out for help. He opened his eyes and stared at the diary, his mind racing. Should he keep reading? Should he stop before the weight of her sorrow consumed him? But deep inside, he already knew the answer. He could not stop. The diary waited, glowing softly in his hands, like a fragile heart beating against the darkness. Daniel took a deep breath and whispered, "I will not walk away." And with that, he turned the page. Daniel sat alone in the ruins, the strange, glowing diary resting in his hands. Around him, broken walls stood like silent witnesses. Dust floated in, the cold air, but he did not notice. His eyes were locked on the glowing words, words that seemed alive. The next page opened by itself as if the diary wanted him to continue. Slowly, new letters formed. Every day I wake up in the same small room. The roof leaks. The food is never enough, and my hands are always cold. No one speaks to me. No one remembers me. I am invisible. Daniel's throat tightened. The sentences were simple, but behind them was deep pain. He could almost see her, this unknown alien girl, writing in the dark, trying to hold her heart together with words. He whispered, "You're not invisible. Not anymore." The diary pulsed faintly, as if it had heard him. He turned the page. "When I was young, I believed life would be kind. I thought friends would come, and maybe one day I could see the sky from above. But I was wrong. People walk past me as if I am not real. My voice carries no weight. My dreams are a joke. I write them here only because no one else will listen." Daniel leaned back, staring at the ceiling of the ruin. He had seen many broken machines in his life, but never a broken soul captured so clearly. This girl, whoever she was, had poured her life into this diary. He read on. "Sometimes I sit outside and watch the ships fly away. I hear them roar above my head, leaving for other worlds. I pretend I am inside one of them, flying through the stars. But when the sound fades, I am still here, alone, grounded." Daniel closed his eyes. He could imagine it. A young girl sitting on cracked stone, looking up at a sky filled with ships, feeling left behind by the galaxy. The words continued. "People say I am poor because I am lazy. They say dreams are for the strong, but they don't see the truth. I am not lazy, I am just small, powerless, forgotten. I don't need riches, I don't need fame, I only want to see the stars with my own eyes." The words cut through Daniel's chest like a knife. He had traveled between planets, seen skies full of stars, but for her, even that simple sight was impossible. The diary flickered, and a new message appeared, softer this time. "If someone is reading this, maybe you understand. Maybe you know how it feels to be unseen. If you do, then you are my first friend." Daniel blinked. His heart raced. He was only a stranger, yet she called him a friend. He touched the page gently, as if his fingers could reach her across time. He whispered, "Yes, I understand." The diary glowed brighter, as if answering his promise. He turned another page. "I dream of a sky with two suns. I dream of a sea of clouds where I can fly with wings. I dream of Earth, the blue planet. I have never seen it, but I hear stories. They say humans are brave. They say humans make impossible things real. I wonder, is it true?" Daniel froze. She knew of Earth. She dreamed of humans. And now here he was, holding her diary in his very human hands. Was this fate? Or just a strange coincidence? He read further. "I write because I have no one. The air in my house is empty. The nights are colder than the days. I hide my tears so no one can laugh at me. This diary is my only voice. If you are still reading, then I am speaking to you." Daniel's chest ached. Her loneliness poured into him like a wave. He thought of his own life, quiet, wandering, filled with broken machines and empty stations. Maybe he too had been invisible until now. His hand shook as he turned the page. Once I asked the stars for a gift. Not food, not wealth, not power. I asked for someone to hear me, just once. I told the stars, please, let my words touch one heart. And then I laughed at myself. Who could ever hear me? Who would ever care? Daniel's eyes burned. He whispered into the silent ruins. I care. The words glowed brighter, as if warmed by his voice. If you are reading, then maybe the stars answered me. Maybe I was, not foolish after all. But still, I am afraid. I am afraid you will stop. I am afraid you will forget me. If you leave, then I will vanish again, like smoke in the wind. Daniel pressed the diary against his chest. He could not stop now. He would not let her vanish. He whispered, I won't leave you. For a moment the ruins seemed warmer, the silence softer. The diary's glow was steady now, as if comforted. But then the next words appeared, sharp and haunting. If you truly listen, then I must confess my greatest dream. It is impossible, foolish, even laughable, but it is my heart. Will you hear it? Daniel's pulse quickened. He nodded to the empty room. Yes. Tell me. The page shimmered, preparing to reveal more. Daniel felt the weight of destiny pressing on his shoulders. He knew this was not just a diary anymore, it was a bridge between worlds, between hearts, and he was the one chosen to cross it. Daniel sat in silence, the glowing diary still warm in his hands. The air around him felt different now, no longer cold ruins, but almost alive with hidden energy. Each page he turned didn't just show words. It carried a pulse, a quiet rhythm. As if the diary itself was breathing, the letters began to form again, glowing softly. My greatest dream is simple. I want to see the stars with my own eyes. I want to fly. I want to leave this heavy world behind. But no one believes me. They laugh. They say a poor girl like me cannot even leave her street. How could she ever leave the planet? Daniel felt his jaw tighten. He could almost hear her voice, gentle, trembling, but stubborn. It was not just sadness in her words. There was fire, hidden under her sorrow. As he read, something strange happened. For a heartbeat, the diary flickered, and Daniel saw a faint image, a blurry vision of a girl sitting by a broken window, staring up at a sky full of stars. Her hair was messy, her clothes old, but her eyes carried light. Daniel gasped and rubbed his eyes. The image was gone. Only glowing words remained. What was that? He whispered. The diary pulsed once, almost like an answer. He read on. Sometimes I imagine someone reading these words, someone who does not laugh, someone who stays. I imagine they whisper back, even if I cannot hear. That thought gives me courage. Maybe I am not alone after all. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. She had imagined him. She had dreamed of someone exactly like him. He leaned closer to the diary and whispered, I'm here. I stayed. The page glowed brighter. New words formed instantly, faster than before, almost as if she was responding to him directly. If you are still reading, then you are my listener, maybe even my friend. But is it true? Or am I only talking to myself? Daniel's heart pounded. He could not explain it, but he felt the diary was alive, aware, reaching for him. You're not alone, he said softly. I hear you. The ruins shivered with silence, and for a moment Daniel swore he felt warmth brushing against his skin, like invisible hands thanking him. The next line appeared. Then I will trust you with more. I will tell you secrets I never dared to speak. If you are real, then these words belong to you now. Daniel sat straighter, every nerve alert. He had opened old machines, discovered forgotten codes, but this was something else. This was a living bond forming through ink and light. The words continued. I am afraid of sleep. In dreams I see the stars, and when I wake the darkness hurts even more. I eat little, But my hunger is not for food. It is for freedom. My people say freedom is for the strong. I say freedom is for the heart. Daniel's eyes stung. He whispered to the empty room, "You're stronger than you know." The diary glowed again, brighter, as though it had heard and accepted his reply. He turned the page. Suddenly his flashlight flickered and died. But the diary's glow was enough to fill the room with a gentle blue light. The ruins around him looked less broken, more sacred, as if the diary was rewriting reality itself. If you are my listener, then maybe you can answer me. Tell me, are humans really as brave as I believe? Daniel blinked. The question sat on the page like a challenge. He laughed softly, bitterly. Brave? Not always. But sometimes, yes. Sometimes brave enough to listen. The words shifted. A new sentence appeared. Then maybe, if you are brave, you can carry my dream with you. Even if I cannot reach the stars, maybe you will take a piece of me there. Will you promise me this? Daniel swallowed hard. He felt the weight of her plea pressing into his chest. It was not just a diary now. It was a soul handing him its dream. I promise, he whispered. The diary glowed so bright he had to squint, and for one brief second he saw her again, the blurry image sharpening. This time her lips moved. Though no sound reached him, Daniel read her silent words. Thank you. Then the vision faded. Daniel's hands shook. His heart thundered. He knew he was crossing a line. This was not ordinary discovery. This was not a piece of history. This was a living bond stretching across distance, maybe even across time. He turned the page slowly, his voice trembling. I'll keep listening. I won't stop. New words appeared, softer than before, almost shy. Then I am not afraid anymore. Daniel closed his eyes. For the first time, he did not feel alone in the ruins. He felt her, lonely, fragile but also alive, sitting beside him, sharing silence. The bond had been formed. Not of metal, not of code, but of voice and heart, and deep inside Daniel knew. This was only the beginning. The diary's glow lit the broken walls of the ruin like a small fire in endless night. Daniel sat still, his breath slow, his hands trembling slightly as he turned the next page. He already felt the bond between them. He, a human scavenger, and she, a voice trapped in glowing letters. The words formed carefully, almost hesitant, as if the diary itself was holding its breath. I have told you my pain. I have told you my loneliness. But I have hidden one dream from these pages. It is the biggest. It is the most impossible. I was afraid to write it because even the stars might laugh at me. But if you are still here, then maybe it is safe to speak. Daniel leaned closer, his pulse quickening. The air around him felt heavy, expectant, as if the entire ruin waited for her secret. The words continued, glowing brighter with each line. My dream is to see Earth, the blue planet, the world of humans. I want to stand on its soil, breathe its air, and look at its sky. Since I was a child, I heard whispers of Earth, stories of oceans wider than thought, forests older than time, and skies that burn with colors at dawn. I dreamed that one day I could walk there, but for me it is impossible. Daniel's mouth went dry. She didn't just want to fly among stars. She wanted to come to his world. Earth. The place he often took for granted. The place he sometimes cursed for its crowded cities and endless noise. But for her, Earth was heaven itself, he whispered. Earth. She dreamed of Earth. As if hearing him, the next line shimmered. I do not want riches. I do not want power. I only want one moment under an Earth sky. Just once, to see with my own eyes what I have only painted in dreams. That is my impossible wish. Daniel felt his chest ache. He had lived his whole life walking freely under Earth's sky, never thinking of it as a gift, And here was this girl, trapped, broken, longing for it like it was the greatest treasure. The diary flickered, and again he saw her, clearer this time. She sat in a small dark room, holding the diary against her chest. Her face was thin, her eyes bright with hope, though her lips trembled as if she feared the world would crush her dream. Daniel reached out instinctively, his hand brushing only air. The vision vanished. The page shifted. New words appeared. Do you laugh at me, listener? Do you think me foolish? Even I know this wish is impossible. I have no ship, I have no money, I have no one. Earth is only a star in the sky to me. Yet my heart cannot stop reaching for it. Daniel clenched his fists. He did not laugh. He did not find it foolish. Instead, he felt something stirring inside him, a mix of anger and determination. Anger at the world that had denied her even the right to dream. Determination to keep reading, to not let her voice die in silence. He whispered, "No, I don't laugh. I swear I don't." The words on the diary brightened, as though answering his promise. If you are still here, then let me confess one more thing. Sometimes I imagine a human standing before me. I imagine him hearing my words, not with pity, but with belief. I imagine him saying, "Your dream is not impossible." And for that moment, even if it is only a dream, I feel alive. Daniel's heart pounded. She had imagined him, a human. She had dreamed of this very moment. He pressed a hand against the glowing pages and said softly, "Your dream is not impossible." For a heartbeat, the ruins changed. Daniel saw stars, thousands of them swirling above him like a painted sky. He heard laughter, soft and hopeful. Then it was gone, and only the diary's glow remained. His breath shook. He was not just reading anymore. He was living her dream with her. The diary showed one final line before fading to silence. If you are real, if you truly hear me, then carry my dream. Even if I never see Earth, let someone who heard me touch its sky. Then I will not vanish. Then I will not be forgotten. Daniel closed the diary and pressed it against his chest. His eyes burned, his throat tight. He had come here searching for scrap metal, for forgotten machines. But what he had found was heavier than gold, stronger than steel. He had found a soul, a poor alien girl who wanted nothing more than a sky he walked under every day. He whispered, into the silent ruins, "I'll carry your dream. I swear it." For the first time in years, Daniel felt purpose burning inside him. This was no longer about scavenging. This was no longer about survival. This was about her, and he knew. No matter how far he had to go, he could not stop now. Daniel could not sleep that night. The ruins were quiet, the diary resting on his lap like a small glowing heart. He stared at the pages, reading the final line again and again. If you are real, carry my dream. Those words echoed in his head louder than the silence around him. He had promised. He had sworn, but now in the darkness doubt crept in. What if it was just a recording? What if the girl was long gone, nothing more than a memory trapped in this strange device? He had scavenged many machines before. They all carried echoes of the past. Why should this be any different? Yet, this was different. He had felt her presence. He had seen her face, her trembling smile, her eyes filled with starlight. The diary was not only memory, it was alive. He turned the next page. The letters formed slowly, like whispers in the dark. If you truly hear me, then I will give you one last gift. A place. These are the numbers, the stars, the path to where I write, if you come, maybe I will see you. Or maybe it will be too late. Daniel's hands froze. His eyes widened. Coordinates. The diary was giving him a location, a real place. His breath caught. It was no longer only words. It was a call. He felt a chill crawl down his spine. Should he go? Could he go? He was only one man with a small ship, no weapons, no power. The galaxy was wide and merciless. Why should he risk everything for a stranger, an alien girl he had never met? He closed the diary and rubbed his temples. His mind spun. Logic screamed, "Don't go." It's madness, but his heart whispered, "She is waiting." Daniel stood up and paced across the dusty floor of the ruin. His boots crunched on broken glass and old metal. He tried to think clearly. If he left now, he could sell the diary for more money than he had ever dreamed of. Collectors would fight for it. It was alien, ancient, priceless. That money could buy him safety, comfort, maybe even a home on Earth again. But if he sold it, her voice would be gone. Her dream would die in someone's vault, forgotten and silent. He pressed the diary against his chest and closed his eyes. He heard her again, not in words, but in the quiet feeling that filled him. Her loneliness, her hope, her belief that maybe, just maybe, someone would listen. Daniel opened his eyes, tears stinging. He had listened. He had promised. He turned the diary back on. The coordinates glowed, steady and sharp. "If you come, I will know my words were not wasted," he whispered. "What if I fail?" The page flickered. A new line appeared, soft as breath. "Then at least you tried, and that is enough." Daniel's heart shook. This was not a trap. It was not a machine. It was a plea. He sat back down, breathing hard. His life had always been simple: survive, scavenge, move on. But now he was standing on a line. If he crossed it, nothing would ever be the same. He had two choices. Choice one, ignore the diary, sell it, forget it, move on with his life. He would live in comfort, but every night the words would echo in his mind. He would always wonder, what if? Choice two, follow the coordinates, take his ship into the unknown, risk danger, emptiness, even death. But maybe, just maybe, he would find her, and if he did, he could make her impossible dream real. Daniel laughed bitterly. "You couldn't make it easy, could you?" he whispered. The diary glowed softly in answer, almost playful, almost alive. He stared at the coordinates again. His hands trembled. He remembered her words. "Maybe I am foolish. Maybe no one will ever hear me. But if you are still here, then you are the one I dreamed of." Daniel took a deep breath. His doubts tried to chain him down, but his heart burned stronger. He couldn't walk away, not now, not after everything. He stood tall, his decision carved into him like fire and stone. He spoke aloud, his voice steady. "I choose you." The diary flared, bright enough to light the ruins like morning sun. The glow wrapped around him for a heartbeat, warm and fierce, before fading back into soft blue. Daniel stared at it, stunned. It felt like she had heard his choice, like she had smiled. He placed the diary carefully into his pack. His path was clear now. Tomorrow he would return to his ship. Tomorrow he would set a course for the coordinates. It was reckless. It was dangerous. It was impossible. And yet, for the first time in years, Daniel felt alive. The ruins around him were only shadows now. His true journey was about to begin. Daniel's ship cut through the silent dark of space. Outside the windows, endless stars stretched like frozen sparks. For days he had followed the coordinates glowing inside the diary. Every hour, every jump through space, his heart grew heavier. He kept the diary close, strapped to the control panel. Sometimes, while he drifted half asleep, it pulsed softly, as if reminding him he was not alone. Finally, the destination appeared. A dying planet. From orbit, it looked broken. Gray clouds swirling, surface cracked like old skin. The atmosphere shimmered with toxic storms. Daniel's chest tightened. She lives here? His ship shook as he descended. The engines roared against wild winds. Lightning tore across the skies, painting the world in violent flashes. Yet in the middle of chaos, his scanner picked up something Faint energy, a small shelter hidden among ruins. He landed on cracked ground, dust swirling around the ship like ghosts. The air outside was thin, poisonous, but his suit would hold. He grabbed the diary, placed it in his chest pocket, and stepped out. The world was silent. The silence of endings. He walked slowly, every step crunching over broken stone and ash. His eyes locked on the faint glow ahead, a small hut, or what remained of one. Its walls were weak, its roof half gone, but inside, there was life. Daniel's breath quickened. He pushed open the door. Inside, the air was colder, but still. Against one corner sat a figure, small, fragile, wrapped in torn cloth. She was thin, her skin pale with hunger, her shoulders trembling. But when Daniel entered, she lifted her head. For the first time, their eyes met. They were not human eyes. They were wider, glowing faintly, filled with galaxies of sorrow and hope. Yet to Daniel they looked more human than anything he had ever seen. She whispered, her voice weak but real. "You came?" Daniel froze. The diary on his chest glowed, confirming her words, linking them together. His throat tightened. He nodded. "Yes, I came." Her lips trembled into the smallest smile. Tears gathered at the corner of her eyes, falling down her thin cheeks. She pressed a weak hand against her chest as if to keep her heart from breaking. "I thought I was only writing to stars," she said, voice shaking. "But you heard me." Daniel stepped closer, kneeling before her. He removed the diary from his chest and placed it gently in her hands. "I didn't just hear you," he whispered. "I listened. Every word. Every dream. You're not alone anymore." Her fingers touched the glowing cover, trembling. For years, this diary had been her only voice, her only friend. Now it had brought her someone real. She closed her eyes, whispering, "I don't want to wake up. If this is dream, let it stay." Daniel's voice broke, soft but firm. "It's not a dream. I'm real, and I'm here for you." For a long time, silence filled the room. Only the storm outside screamed, while inside, two souls sat together, breathing the same air. Daniel looked around. The hut was empty. No food, no warmth, no future. She had been surviving on nothing but hope. "How long have you been here?" he asked. Her gaze drifted to the broken roof. "Too long. I stopped counting." Her voice weakened. "I thought I would vanish before anyone cared, but then you answered." Daniel's fists clenched. He wanted to rage at the universe, at the cruelty that had left her here. But instead he reached out, gently taking her hand. Her skin was cold, fragile like paper, but alive. "Come with me," he said firmly. "I'll take you away from this place." Her eyes widened, glowing brighter like twin stars flickering back to life. "Leave this world?" she whispered. "Yes," Daniel said. "You don't belong here anymore. You belong to the stars. You belong to Earth." Tears streamed down her face. She laughed softly, broken but beautiful. "Earth? You would take me there? My impossible dream?" Daniel squeezed her hand. "Impossible dreams are the only ones worth chasing." The diary pulsed between them, brighter than ever before. The light filled the hut, chasing away the shadows, sealing their bond. For a moment, Daniel thought he saw her differently. Not weak, not broken, but shining, like the girl she had always dreamed of being. Strong enough to stand beneath the skies she loved. He whispered, "We'll leave at dawn." She closed her eyes, resting her head against the wall, but her lips curved into a smile. "Then tonight, I will dream of Earth, and tomorrow I will see it." Daniel sat beside her, keeping watch through the long night. The storm outside raged, but inside hope had already begun to rise. The impossible meeting had happened, and now the impossible journey was about to begin. The storm had passed by morning. The sky above the broken planet was heavy and gray, but for Daniel and the alien girl, it felt like the world itself was holding its breath. Daniel helped her stand. Her legs were weak, trembling with every step, but her grip on his arm was steady. She refused to let go. For years she had only walked on cracked stone, trapped under heavy skies. Now, each step toward his ship was a step toward freedom. The diary pulsed softly in her hands, as if celebrating with them. When they reached the ship, Daniel guided her inside carefully. She looked around, her wide glowing eyes studying every surface, every blinking light. She touched the walls like they were sacred. "So this is a human ship," she whispered. Her voice carried both wonder and disbelief. Daniel smiled. "It's not much. Old, rusty. But it flies." She laughed softly, the sound weak but full of joy. "To me, it's beautiful, because it carries me to the stars." Daniel strapped her gently into the seat beside him. Her fingers clung to the diary, but her eyes never left the window. When the engines roared to life, she gasped, her whole body shaking. The ship lifted from the dead planet, pushing through dark clouds, rising higher, higher. For the first time in her life, she saw her world shrinking beneath her. Tears filled her eyes. I'm leaving. I'm really leaving." Daniel looked at her, then at the endless space opening before them. "Yes," he said softly. "You're free now." The ship broke through the last layer of storm. Suddenly the stars exploded into view, thousands of brilliant lights stretching forever across the dark canvas of space. She pressed her hands against the window, her breath catching. So many. So beautiful. Daniel watched her, his chest tightening. To him, the stars were familiar, but to her this was everything. This was life itself. "Welcome," he said, "to the galaxy." Her tears sparkled in the glow of the stars. She whispered, "I'm not invisible anymore." For days they traveled together. Daniel gave her food, warm clothes, and rest. Slowly her strength began to return. She asked questions about humans, about Earth, about oceans and trees and skies. Daniel answered every one, his voice steady, though his heart was often heavy. He had never realized how much he had taken his home for granted. Finally, the blue planet came into view. Through the window, Earth glowed like a jewel against the black of space. Oceans shining deep blue, clouds swirling white, lands stretching, green and gold. The alien girl gasped, covering her mouth with trembling hands. Her eyes widened with awe, tears streaming freely. "It's real," she whispered. "It's not just a story, it's real." Daniel swallowed hard, his voice low. "Yes, this is Earth." As the ship descended, her hands shook with excitement. She pressed her face against the glass like a child, laughing and crying at the same time. They broke through the atmosphere. The sky burned red and orange with dawn. The girl cried out softly, her voice breaking. "The colors! They're alive!" The ship landed in a quiet valley, where green hills rolled beneath a wide, endless sky. Daniel opened the hatch. Fresh air rushed in. Cool, gentle, carrying the scent of grass and soil. He helped her step outside. The moment her feet touched Earth's soil, she froze. She looked down at the grass beneath her, bent to touch it, and gasped. Her fingers brushed the blades, soft and wet with morning dew. She looked up. The sky stretched above, painted with clouds glowing gold in the sunrise. Birds sang faintly, in the distance. The world was alive. Her knees gave way. She fell to the ground, laughing and sobbing all at once. "I'm here. I'm really here. My dream. My impossible dream." Daniel knelt beside her, his hand resting on her shoulder. His eyes burned as he whispered, "It's not impossible anymore." She lifted her face to the sky, tears glistening, lips trembling into a smile brighter than the sun. "This is more than I ever imagined," she whispered. "This is everything." For a long time, she just sat there, staring at the sky, letting the wind touch her skin, letting the earth breathe around her. Daniel watched her in silence, his heart heavy with something he could not name. Finally, she turned to him. Her glowing eyes held both gratitude and wonder. You heard me when no one else would. You carried my dream when I could not. You gave me the stars. You gave me Earth. Daniel shook his head. No. You gave me something first. You gave me purpose. The diary pulsed one last time, then dimmed, its duty complete. It had carried her voice across time and space, and now her dream was real. She stood slowly, lifting her face to the sky again. She spread her arms wide, as if embracing the entire horizon. Her voice carried, soft but clear. I am not invisible. I am alive, and my dream has come true. Daniel stood beside her, both of them staring at the endless blue sky of Earth, and for the first time, he truly believed what the old stories said. Humanity is not only about survival, it is about making dreams, impossible dreams, real.